So good morning one and all. So let us start today's class. So today we are discussing about the eigenvalues and the eigenvectors. So before proceeding further, there are the very important concepts of the linear algebra or matrix solutions. So how to find out eigenvectors or eigenvalues? Suppose if A is a matrix, we find out A minus lambda I. The mod of A minus lambda I should be equal to 0. We find out lambdas. They are called eigenvalues. How to get eigenvectors? So we find out, we substitute these lambda values in A minus lambda I and into x equal to 0. So here we get the eigenvectors for the particular eigenvalues. Okay. Now, so I hope you know this all about eigenvalues and eigenvectors. You might have studied in your previous courses. Now let us take this simple example. This is a two-dimensional figure. We have a vector that is x 1 comma 3. So when this vector is hit by a matrix, whenever a vector is hit by a matrix, what happens? So the vector changes its path or direction as well as magnitude. So this was the original vector. After hitting with the matrix A, it has become like this. Okay. So the vector will be transformed from this to this. So in this transformation, it may change its path or direction, or it may change the magnitude. What happened? Magnitude can be increased or decreased. Okay. So the vector also gets scaled, or the magnitude will change. It may increase or it may decrease. So it may change its path, okay, or direction. Now here, so we have a special vector that is called eigenvector. What is the specialty of eigenvector? It refuses to change its path or its direction. Okay. So in this example, whenever a vector is hit by a matrix, what happens generally? The vector undergoes a transformation. What transformation? It may change its path or direction, it may change its magnitude. But if it is an eigenvector, what will happen? It will not change its path or its direction. The only thing that may change is the magnitude of the eigenvector. So these are the special vectors which do not change their path or their direction. But there may be a scaling, or the magnitude can be increased or decreased. That is called the eigenvectors. So we write Ax into some lambda into x. What happened? So if x is the eigenvector, when it is hit by a matrix A, now you get lambda x. Okay. So the lambda is the magnitude of the vector. The lambda can be more or less, which means the original magnitude can be increased or decreased, but the direction is same. So the vector will get scaled, but it will not change its direction. Okay. So always you have studied in our previous courses. So the properties of matrices can be analyzed using the eigenvectors or eigenvalues. Okay, let us take this example. So this is the matrix A and this is the eigenvector x 1 comma 1 in the two-dimensional eigenvector 1 comma 1. So x belongs to, generally we write R2. What do you mean by R2? It is a collection of two-dimensional vectors whose elements are real numbers. It is called space, signal space or two-dimensional space. Okay. Now, so here x is 1 comma 1 1 is a vector, a column matrix. When it is hit by a matrix A, what happened? A into x becomes 3 comma 3 or 3 into 1 comma 1 or 1 1. So here it is expanded. or it is stretched, but the direction is same. It is not changing its direction or path. The only thing is it is stretched or it is expanded or its magnitude is increased by what factor? 3. Okay. Now this X is said to be a eigenvector of matrix A or eigenvector. So these are special vectors which does not change their path or direction, but they can be scaled. Yeah. So here, so a simple example. So let us take this vector v of 0. Okay, this is the first vector v of 0. So actually we take one example, but that is not required. Just go with directly the mathematical explanations. What is v of 1? The next version of v of 0. Okay, the next value of v of 1 or next iteration. So it is something like this: pk1 plus 1 minus qk2 1 minus pk1 plus qk2. So what you can write? You can write like this. Now v of 1 is the product of two matrices. Okay, so let us call this matrix as M. What is this matrix? What is this vector? V of 0. Okay, so v0 is a vector, v1 is also a vector, that is m into v of 0. What is v2 would be? M into v1. Okay, please understand this very carefully. So v of 2 is m into v of 1. But what is v of 1? M into v0. That is m square v of 0. v2 is m square v of 0. What is vn? In the same fashion, m power n into v of 0. Okay. Now we have a series like this. What is that? V of 0 is a vector. M into v of 0. This is v of 1 actually. What is this? This is v of 2. This is v of 2. What is this? This is v of n. Sorry, that is v of 3. Because it is m cube. Okay. So we have a series of vectors. All these are vectors. M cube v of 0, m square v of 0, m into v of 0, v of 0. All are vectors. We have a series like this. M4, M5, so on, so on. So if you take the nth time stamp, what happens? What is v of n? M power n into v of 0. But what is m? Please remember this. What is m? What is m? M is a matrix. It is 2 by 2 matrix. That is P. Let me go back and see. P 1 minus Q and 1 minus P and Q. So what happened here? So for every time stamp, we call time stamp. Suppose v of 0 is the 0th stamp at 0 time. v1 is at 1 time, or so on, so on. It is at nth time, vn. Okay. So we have a series of vectors starting from v of 0, v of 1, so on, v of n. But this is a series. So what is v of 1? M into v of 0. What is v of n? M power n into v of 0. These are, what is v of 0? K1, K2. Okay. Now here P and Q are all positive. P is positive, Q also positive. Right? Now, so we have a series of vectors. Next. So this is the state diagram which indicates the previous series of vectors. Okay. We have a K1. After that we have a, it is 1 minus K1. At K1 we have a P. After that it becomes 1 minus P. K2 it is Q. After that it is 1 minus Q. So this matrix P, 1 minus P, 1 minus Q, Q. So this state diagram will indicate the matrix M. Okay. Now we'll see some definitions. So let us start with some definitions which are very important in our course. So first is now what is the first definition? Let lambda 1, lambda 2, so on be the eigenvalues of a n cross n matrix A. Lambda 1 is called the dominant eigenvalue of A if its magnitude is more than the magnitude of remaining eigenvalues. Now what they are saying is, we have a matrix A, a square matrix of order n. Okay. Now for this we have a n eigenvalues. Let us take. But from what to what? Lambda 1, lambda 2, so on, lambda n. Now, so lambda 1 is said to be a dominant eigenvalue. If, what a condition? Obviously, it should be the largest among all eigenvalues. Okay. So if the magnitude of lambda 1 is more than the remaining eigenvalues, so then the largest eigenvalue is called dominant eigenvalue. Largest by magnitude only, not by sign. Suppose we have two eigenvalues, minus 5, minus 10. By magnitude, which is largest? This one. So minus 10 will be the largest or dominant eigenvalue of the matrix C. Very simple, isn't it? So simply the logic is, so the dominant eigenvalue is the largest eigenvalue by magnitude. Okay, one more definition. A matrix M is called the stochastic matrix if all the entries are positive and the sum of all the elements in each column is equal to 1. Okay, note that the matrix in our example is a column stochastic matrix. What is stochastic matrix? There are three types of stochastic matrices. There are three types actually. What are they? Column stochastics, row stochastics, and double stochastics. The definition is very simple. A matrix is said to be a column stochastics if all the elements are positive and sum of the elements in the column is equal to 1. If you add all the elements in each column, the sum should be equal to 1. That is called the column stochastics. Row stochastic means obviously each and every element of a matrix has to be a positive value, and after that if you add all the elements of each row, the sum should be equal to 1. This is double, which means it is both row stochastic as well as column stochastic matrix. Now here our matrix M is said to be a column stochastic matrix, isn't it? Why? Because I have written M here. So I told you P and Q are positive values because they are fractions actually. Okay, let me write here. What is M? Okay, so M is said to be a column stochastics because column stochastic matrix because this is P, this is 1 minus Q, this is 1 minus P, this is Q. All are positive elements, and if you add the elements of each column, what is P plus 1 minus P? Equal to 1. 1 minus Q plus Q equal to 1. So the sum of the columns is equal to 1 and all the elements are positive. It is said to be a column stochastics. Column stochastic matrix. Okay. Now the largest or dominant eigenvalue of a stochastic matrix is 1. This is one more theorem, very important. Okay, the dominant or the largest eigenvalue of a stochastic matrix is 1. The dominant eigenvalue of a stochastic matrix is 1. So you remember this is an important theorem. We have proof also, but it is not required at this point of time. So the theorem is very important. This third one. Okay. Now what would you say if you combine third one with first one? If 1 is the dominant eigenvalue of a stochastic matrix, What about remaining eigenvalues from this definition? Obviously they should be less than 1, because the largest value is 1, remaining values has to be less than 1, isn't it? Okay, so finally this theorem combinedly tells us that for a stochastic matrix, the largest or the dominant eigenvalue is 1 and remaining eigenvalues are less than 1 by magnitude. Okay, so this is the conclusion by combining the first definition and the theorem. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Third theorem. Think about the first definition and think about the third theorem. If it is a stochastic matrix, the dominant eigenvalue is 1. If that is a dominant, which means it is the largest, obviously remaining eigenvalues has to be less than 1. Okay, now last theorem. If A is a n cross n square matrix with a dominant eigenvalue, then the sequence of vectors given by approaches or converges to a multiple of the dominant eigenvector of A. Okay, so let us understand this very carefully. Okay, A is a square matrix of order n cross n. Okay, it has some dominant eigenvalue and some dominant eigenvector. Let me take lambda d is the dominant eigenvalue and correspondingly ed is the dominant eigenvector. I hope you can differentiate between an eigenvalue and eigenvector. Okay, how to find out eigenvalues, eigenvectors? I hope you know this, because you might have studied these things in your previous courses. This is the dominant eigenvalue and this is a corresponding dominant eigenvector of the matrix A, which is a square matrix of order n. What they are saying is, okay, let me go back to the theorem. Yeah, a sequence of vectors given by this approaches or converges to a multiple of the dominant eigenvector. Now we have a sequence or series of vectors. Who are they? I told you there, m, b0, b1, bn. What are they? b0, m b0, m square b0, m power n b0. In the same way, what is here? Matrix is A. There the matrix was m. Now here v0 is a vector, a v0. This is a series of vectors, a square v0, so on so on. Now this series converges to a multiple of dominant eigenvector of matrix A. What is the dominant eigenvector of matrix A? ED. Let us take. Now where K is the multiplication factor. Okay. What do you mean by convergence? You know already. Okay. So a particular series, if you take any particular series, suppose if I say x converges to, suppose you take this series x, x square, so on xn. If I say this converges to 1 means x power n approaches to 1. In the same way, this series of vectors converges to the multiple of dominant eigenvector of that matrix, which means, so after some time, after some iterations, this one a power n v of 0 approaches to some multiplication factor k times ed. Okay, so that is the definition of the last theorem. It converges to, okay, this series converges to the multiplication of the dominant eigenvector of a matrix E. Okay, so let us prove this by taking our example. Now instead of taking any matrix A, I am taking a stochastic matrix. What is the property of stochastic matrix? The dominant eigenvalue is 1 and remaining eigenvectors remaining eigenvalues are less than 1. Okay, now let ED be the dominant eigenvector of matrix M. M is a column stochastic matrix and lambda d is 1. Why? Because the dominant eigenvalue of any stochastic matrix is 1. Okay, now so here, now to prove that we are taking I am taking a stochastic matrix M. Obviously its dominant eigenvalue is 1 and corresponding eigenvector is ED. We don't know what is the vector is, eigenvector. You have to calculate, no? Now this is the column stochastic matrix. By definition, all the elements are positive and sum of all the elements in each column is equal to 1 and its dominant eigenvalue is 1. Now what we have to prove? The series. What is that? V0, MV0, so on, M power n V0 approaches or converges to what? Some multiplication of k into ED. That is what we have to prove. So here, we have taken this series. Okay. So there exists a n such that n is a timestamp or the number of iterations, you can assume in that sense. V of n. What is that? V of n equal to m power n V0. It is approaching to some product of ED or some multiplication of ED, where k is a multiplication factor. K into ED. What is ED? The dominant eigenvector of a matrix M here. Okay. Now let us see what happens at time step n plus 1. Next step. Okay. So now V of n plus 1. What is V of n plus 1? M into Vn. Please be careful here. Okay. Otherwise, let me write here. Okay, let us take next time step. So as of now, what do we know? V of n equal to m power n V of 0, that is nothing but some k into ED. Okay. Let us take after this n plus 1 at the time step of n plus 1. So V of n plus 1 simply m into V of n. Do you agree with me? Isn't it? But what is V of n? KED. So this is m into k into ED. M into k into ED. So this further can be written as k into m into ED. What is m into ED? You have written, no? Ax equal to lambda x. Isn't it? If x is the eigenvector and lambda is eigenvalue. Isn't it? Now here what is the matrix M? What is the eigenvector? ED. Now what eigenvalue? Lambda d. So I hope you can get this point. Compare this with this one. M into ED means obviously finally this is k into lambda d into ED. Isn't it? Obviously lambda d is the dominant eigenvalue of a stochastic matrix which happen to be equal to 1. So this is k into ED. You take next time step n plus 2, so on. It doesn't change. It converges to k into ED, the multiplication of dominant eigenvector of a matrix M. Please remember, here we have taken a stochastic matrix, not any normal matrix. Okay. Now it converges at n. After n, it is still same. Even though you change the time steps, it is not changing. It is converges to ED or proportional to ED, I can say. Okay. But remember, so it is constant after time step n. Okay. Now, so it is happened only for what matrix? Matrix M. But the definition we have written, it is not for the matrix M. Please make a note of this. Here I have taken any matrix A. It need not be a stochastics. But so for simplicity, I have taken the matrix A as matrix M, which is a column stochastic matrix. Okay, I proved it. Okay, indeed it converges to the multiple of dominant eigenvector of a matrix A or M. So let us go with the any general matrix which is need not be a stochastic. So instead of stochastic matrix, let us consider any square matrix A. Let P be the time step at which the sequence approaches the multiple of ED. Okay, so after time P, it approaches the multiple of ED. So now what is sequence? Okay, let me be careful here. Now what is the sequence? I have taken x naught, a into x naught, a square x naught, so on so on. Okay. Now what I have assumed is it is converges to KED after a time step of P, which means AP x naught equal to some K into ED. Isn't it? Correct? Now, so here what I have written in the definition, let me check once. Yeah, so no problem. Here the vector I have written V naught, now I am writing x naught, no problem. Right. So let us proceed with our proof. Next, what happens? At next time step, a p plus 1 x naught. So that is simply k into a into ed. A into ed is nothing but lambda d ed. Are you getting what I am saying? Yeah. So suppose if I multiply a with a on both sides, simply this is a into p plus 1 into x naught. This is a. Okay. Now what is happening here? So I can write k into AED. What is AED? Ax equal to lambda x. That means k into lambda d ed. But here lambda d need not be 1 because I did not say that the matrix is a stochastic matrix. If it is not stochastic, the dominant eigenvalue of the matrix can be anything. We cannot say it is exactly 1. Okay, it is some lambda d. We don't know what is that. Okay. Now, so if you take next time step p plus 2, what would happen? K lambda d square ed. If you take few more steps, k lambda d whole power n ed. Okay. So finally, what is happening here? So if you take few more time steps after p, I am taking n more time steps, x naught is equal to k lambda d whole power n ed. Isn't it? Am I right? K lambda d whole power n ed. Now, here is the problem. So, will it converge or not? That is the question. Okay. So, it depends upon, anyway, k is a multiplication factor, ed is a vector. The only thing is it depends upon lambda d whole power n. Okay. Suppose if mod of lambda d is more than 1, what will happen? So you get, suppose lambda d is 2 power n. 2 power n will not converge. Okay. If you change the n value, it goes up to infinity, isn't it? It will explode, you can say. Okay. So if lambda is less than 1, okay, so it may vanish. Okay. If it is equal to 1, it will reach the steady state, because if lambda d is 1, obviously this quantity still is 1, this quantity is 1. We are left with KED. It is constant now. No problem. Simply k is a some multiplication factor by the dominant eigenvector. Okay, it becomes constant. But in remaining two cases, So it may vanish or it may explode or it may go out of boundaries, out of bound. So these are the three possibilities. Okay. So if at all it has to be a steady state, it has to be a 1, which means it has to be a stochastic matrix. Okay. So that is about theorems. So let me take a few more minutes to discuss about the basis and the linear independent vectors. I hope these concepts already have been discussed while discussing what course? ADC course. Okay. In that we have seen what is the linear independency and what is the basis functions. We are calling them as a phi 1, phi 2, so on so on. A set of vectors belongs to Rn is called a basis if they are linearly independent and every vector Rn can be expressed as the linear combination of these vectors. That is the definition of basis. Okay, what are the bases? So there is a set of vectors belongs to Rn first of all. Okay, so please don't confuse if I write something like this. If I write R2 means it is a combination of two-dimensional vectors of real numbers. What are the possibilities? Let me take example. 2 minus 1. It is a vector in R2. 3 minus 3. It is a vector in R3. So like this you take combinations of all two-dimensional vectors of real values. They belongs to R2. If I write R3 means what? If I say R3 means you take all possible set of three-dimensional vectors of real numbers. Example 1, 1, 1. It is a vector in R3. So like that, so many vectors are possible. Okay. Now, what they are saying, a basis function, a set of vectors belongs to Rn is called a basis if they are linear independent and every vector Rn can be expressed as the linear combination of these vectors. Isn't it? So I know you might have discussed like this, right? S1 we have discussed as S11 phi 1 of t plus S12 phi 2 of t plus so on. Isn't it? Here what are we saying? Phi 1 phi 2 are called basis functions because we could able to represent S1 of t as a linear combination of phi 1 phi 2 so on phi n. Okay. Now, okay, so what is a linearly independent vectors? These things also have been discussed in the previous course, but let me explain one more time. A set of n vectors are linearly independent if no vectors in the set can be expressed as a linear combination of remaining n minus 1 vectors. Okay, that is very important. A set of vector is said to be a linearly independent vectors. Okay, let me take S1 is a vector, S2, S3 and S4. They are said to be linearly independent. They are said to be linearly independent. When no vector in the set can be able to represent as a linear combination of remaining vectors in the set, which means S1 should not be represented as linear combination of remaining vectors. What are they? S2, S3, S4. In the same way, S2 should not be expressed as linear combination of remaining vectors S1, S3, S4, so on. No vector in the set cannot be expressed as a linear combination of remaining vectors in the set. Then all these are said to be a set of linearly independent vector. Is it okay? If you can able to write so, obviously they are not linearly independent, they are linearly dependent. Okay. What is the one more definition? This is one. So V1, V2, Vn are, if they are linearly independent, so C1, C2 are some scalars. This is 0 if and only if all scalars are 0. The only solution to this is all the scalars are 0, which means One more definition is, suppose I have these 3 vectors or these 4 vectors. So when can I say these are linearly independent? So if I say suppose a1 s1 plus a2 s2 plus a3 s3 plus a4 s4 equal to 0. For this equation, the only solution is what? a1 equal to a2 equal to a3 equal to a4 equal to 0. All these are 0. The only possible solution is that. Then they are said to be linearly independent. This is one more definition. Okay. So this is about basis and linearly independent vectors. Okay. So we stop here. Thank you.